In this unique scientific lecture, we will reveal the wisdom of Epistronomy, the astronomical basis of Hasidic astrology. We will present, for the very first time, the wondrous secrets of this wisdom and demonstrate that its precision is akin to prophecy. In recent generations, astrologers have invented a new concept known as modern astrology. However, it bears no resemblance to the original, magnificent wisdom known to the early sages. I have dedicated a separate lecture to exposing the manipulations today's astrologers use to deceive the public, even when they claim their practices are kosher according to the Torah. Additionally, the mystical forces and energies that mainstream astrologers attribute to the planets, claiming they are directly responsible for earthly events, are completely absurd. This is especially true now that we know these celestial bodies are composed merely of rock, metal, and gas. Without the framework of Jewish philosophy, I would not engage with this field at all. It is only through Torah philosophy that we can understand why historical events occur in parallel with planetary positions, even though the physical bodies of the planets themselves possess absolutely no influence over human beings. Let us begin with the basics. The celestial dome is divided into 12 regions representing the 12 zodiac signs, with each individual sign spanning exactly 30 degrees. In my research, I consider only 5 outer planets: Jupiter, Saturn, Uranus, Neptune, and Pluto. The latter 3 were discovered in recent generations via telescopes. In a separate lecture, I provide a wonderful explanation accounting for the emergence of these 3 new planets, given that the ancient sages traditionally spoke of 7 planets rather than 10. I intentionally include Pluto among the planets, even though astronomers have stripped it of this classification, because in the wisdom of the zodiac, the definition of a planet differs from that used in modern astronomy. To these 5 planets, an additional astronomical factor must be added: the lunar node. The lunar node is not a physical planet but a geometric point. It represents the intersection where, from the perspective of Earth, the solar orbit meets the lunar orbit. From this point, the moon begins to tilt northward. This point is not fixed. It constantly shifts against the wheel of the zodiac, completing a full cycle every 18.5 years. In the Book of Creation it is stated, "The lunar node in the world is like a king on his throne." This point possesses a unique characteristic, acting much like a king or a joker. If I expect a certain planet to be positioned at a specific degree in the zodiac, the lunar node can take its place, functioning astrologically as if the planet itself were located there. To facilitate this research, I built a computer program containing tens of thousands of lines of code, integrated with precise NASA ephemerides. Through this software, I can generate a complete astronomical map for any date in the past or future, mapping the exact positions of all planets within the zodiac signs. At the top right of the screen, the Hebrew date is displayed, while the Gregorian date appears on the left. The planets are represented by the first letter of their names, while the symbol X represents the lunar node. In the table on the right, all planets are listed within their respective signs to an accuracy of degrees and minutes. Although the inner wisdom of the zodiac was highly hidden among the sages of Israel, I discovered a profound textual source in the writings of the great 12th century Kabbalist, the Ravid. In his commentary on the Book of Creation, he explains that the zodiac wheel is divided into equal segments, each containing a specific combination of the holy names. When the sun or the moon passes through one of these segments, a specific spiritual influence is drawn down into the world, characterized by the attributes of that divine name. According to the rule, if a planet is located at the exact same point with the same holy name for 2 righteous individuals, it proves they might share the same spiritual influence. For many years, I attempted to discover the secret points in the zodiac corresponding to pivotal events in Jewish history, such as the Exodus from Egypt, the building of the first temple, the miracles of Hanukkah and Purim, and the miraculous salvation of Jerusalem during the reigns of King Hezekiah and Sennacherib. Then, a novel idea occurred to me. We should examine the planetary positions on the exact day of the passing of the 7 foundational tzaddikim, the righteous individuals: Abraham, Isaac, Jacob, Moses, Aaron, Joseph, and David. Because this dynasty prepared the world for these monumental historical events and remains spiritually responsible for them, The positions of the planets at the time of their passing are identical to the planetary positions during those historical milestones. We will call this lineage the first dynasty. We look specifically at the time of death rather than birth because we are concerned with the completion of a righteous soul's mission in the world, which is revealed through the planets on the day of death. Initially, I encountered a major obstacle. The exact calendar dates and years of their passing are subjects of historical dispute. Consequently, I took an alternative approach. It is brought down in Torah sources that just as the first dynasty prepared the world for the Exodus and the other events until the building of the temple, there exists a second dynasty consisting of 7 righteous leaders in the generations preceding the Messiah. Their cosmic role is to prepare the world for the final redemption and the building of the third temple. The question, of course, is, who belongs to this second lineage? In Chabad teachings, it is stated that this dynasty is the Baal Shem Tov, the founder of general Hasidism, followed by his disciple the Maggid of Mezrich. The succession continues through the Alter Rebbe, known as the Baal HaTanya, founder of the Chabad movement, the Middler Rebbe, the Tzemach Tzedek, the Maharash, and the Rashab. These 2 dynasties directly parallel one another. Hasidic philosophy explains the stunning spiritual similarities between them in precise detail, showing how the Baal Shem Tov corresponds to Abraham, the Maggid to Isaac, and so on. The structural blueprint of the righteous dynasty is determined precisely by the cosmic role of its leaders in the world. 3 of these tzaddikim are positioned on the right line, 3 on the left line, and 1 in the middle. This arrangement forms a perfectly symmetrical spiritual system. Because the historical dates of passing for the leaders of the second dynasty are documented with absolute historical certainty, we can use their celestial maps to uncover the exact positions of these 7 mystical zodiac points. Our primary objective, first and foremost, is to conclusively demonstrate that we have identified the true parallel dynasty, proving that the statistical probability of these alignments being mere coincidence approaches 0. Once we establish with mathematical certainty that this is the correct lineage, the door opens for us to uncover how these specific celestial coordinates directly correlate with the most dramatic and historic milestones of the Jewish people. This analytical framework is rooted in a fundamental discourse within the Holy Zohar and is further elaborated upon throughout the teachings of Hasidism. Each of the 7 righteous leaders is intrinsically bound to a specific coordinate in the zodiac. This connection is uniquely unveiled on the day of their passing, manifested by a specific planet positioning itself precisely at that exact degree. I have mapped 3 blue lines across the position of Neptune on the passing days of the 3 righteous leaders of the right line. Neptune is cosmically aligned with the right line of spiritual influence, as evidenced by its historical discovery by astronomers during the lifetime of the Tzemach Tzedek, a tzaddik rooted in the right line. Conversely, I have mapped 3 red lines across the positions of Uranus and the lunar node on the passing days of the 3 righteous leaders of the left line. Uranus is fundamentally associated with the left line, having been discovered during the lifetime of the Alter Rebbe, a righteous one from the left line. It is crucial to note the extreme precision of these coordinates. The width of these active zodiac points spans less than 1 single degree, more precisely, a mere 40 minutes of arcade. And behold, it is brought in the secret books that following the completion of the 7 leaders of the first dynasty, King Solomon, the son of King David, assumed the throne. His role was to ensure that the spiritual channels from the 7 before him were absorbed and implemented in the physical world. This represents the ultimate lineage of redemption. Since the second dynasty operates outside of Israel, the 8th position is split into 2 separate leaders. On the right line is the Rayatz, son of the Rashab, taking the 8th spot. Following him on the left line is the Rebbe of Lubavitch, taking the 9th. The cosmic role of these 2 contemporary leaders directly mirrors that of King Solomon, to absorb, integrate, and ground the immense spiritual abundance generated by the 7 leaders before them into the physical reality. Consequently, the celestial coordinates of these final 2 tzaddikim are structurally identical to the collective points of the preceding 7. In other words, while each of the first 7 tzaddikim possesses a single distinct point in the zodiac, the Rayatz and the Lubavitcher Rebbe each encompass 3 points simultaneously. These are the exact same 3 points originating from the right and left lines of the dynasty. The structural template detailing the specific lineage of tzaddikim was first openly revealed by the Rayatz on the night of Sukkot in 1936, as he received it from his father, the Rashab. In essence, on this occasion he established the day of his passing. Because the Rayatz is positioned on the right line, his celestial map encompasses the 3 right coordinates. Conversely, the Lubavitcher Rebbe, positioned on the left, encompasses the 3 left coordinates. This dictates that on the exact day of the Rayatz's passing, 3 distinct planets would simultaneously converge upon the 3 right coordinates. Furthermore, because the planet Pluto was discovered during the generation of the Rayatz and the Rebbe, it was uniquely designated to reach the primary anchor point of the right line, the point of the Baal Shem Tov. The exact parallel occurred with the Lubavitcher Rebbe. On the day of his passing, 3 planets arrived simultaneously at the 3 coordinates on the left. Here too, Pluto was the specific celestial body that arrived at the anchor point of the left line, the point of the Alter Rebbe. The simultaneous occurrence of these 2 configurations is extraordinarily rare, to the extent that standard astronomical probability casts immense doubt on whether such alignments would ever occur at all. For context, you can see that when Saturn reached one of these specific lines, the other 2 lines remained completely vacant. Similarly, when the lunar node intersected one of the lines, no other planets occupied the remaining 2. Even when Pluto made contact with its designated line, it sat completely alone across the 3 coordinates. The mathematical probability of 2 planets arriving simultaneously at 2 of these points is remarkably low, let alone when it comes to 3 points. During the lifetime of the Rayatz, it was technologically impossible to calculate or predict when these precise configurations would manifest. Today, however, utilizing advanced computer models integrated with NASA data, we can retroactively calculate these dates with absolute mathematical precision. My research revealed that this cosmic blueprint was realized to the exact day, and the prophecy of the Rayatz was fully realized. The first alignment occurred on the 10th of Shevat, January 28, 1950, the precise day of the passing of the Rayatz, when 3 celestial bodies converged perfectly on the 3 right coordinates. The second alignment occurred on the 3rd of Tammuz, June 12, 1994, the exact day of the Lubavitcher Rebbe's passing, when 3 celestial bodies simultaneously occupied the 3 left coordinates. And as previously noted, the lunar node is acting as a regular planet. This is truly a scientific miracle and proves that we have identified the true Second Dynasty tasked with preparing the world for redemption, because the celestial blueprint of these 9 righteous leaders perfectly mirrors the structural pattern outlined in the Holy Zohar regarding the First Dynasty. This mathematical validation stands as the most critical and definitive breakthrough among all the studies I have ever conducted on the wisdom of the zodiac. It operates as an exact science. It unequivocally proves that the alignment of the 3rd of Tammuz, the day of the Rebbe's passing, is an exceedingly rare, singular historical event that has never occurred before and will never occur again in the future. Yet, the Rayatz foresaw this exact cosmic blueprint decades in advance. To ensure the integrity of this study, I cross-examined the celestial maps of hundreds of righteous individuals from various dynasties and sectors. Not a single one exhibited this specific lineage of redemption. This does not diminish their immense spiritual greatness. It only serves to say that each righteous person has their own unique role, and there are righteous individuals whose entire role is to prepare the world for redemption. Fundamentally, this is the main part of my research, and it is the basis of real astrological wisdom. In summary, to allow you to grasp this entire system at a glance, I have mapped all the coordinates of the tzaddikim onto a single screen. On the right side of the table, you can see points 1, 2, and 3 highlighted in blue, divided among the 3 leaders of the right line. These coordinates are perfectly replicated on the celestial map of the Rayatz. Similarly, on the left side of the table, points 1, 2, and 3 are highlighted in red. All 3 exist simultaneously within the celestial map of the Lubavitcher Rebbe. Regarding the central point belonging to the Rashab located in the middle of the table, I will elaborate on its unique properties in a separate lecture. The conclusion is that there are no coincidences.